Okay, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to Majlis Ulama Shia MUS online class for Book 6. And today is the 10th session. Alhamdulillah, we have had 9 sessions so far over the past 9 weeks. And there will be 3 more sessions, including this one. And then we will have an exam, an online exam. The details of that I will tell you at the end of the end of today's session. So today's session is on akhlaq and history. As you are aware that we are doing fiqh, aqaid, akhlaq and history, and fiqh and aqaid are on alternate weeks. Today's session is on akhlaq and history. Yes, so Tahir, I will let you know about the exam at the end of the session, inshallah. It's not a sort of mandatory thing. You have to register for it, and if you want to do it, then you can do the exam. I'll really encourage you to do it, and all the sessions are available on YouTube, so you can prepare for the exam as well. It will be a good check on what you have learned so far. So I have left the chat open for now. Inshallah, we'll use it for constructive purposes. If you are interested in saying something, then you can unmute your mic and ask a question at the time of when I ask for questions, or you can use the chat to ask any of your questions, inshallah.
Sure.
As a reminder, this is book 6 of the 7 books of Majlis Ulama curriculum. And if you are intending to take the exam and also learn more, then you can visit the Majlis Ulama website to download the book. It's for £1 only, that you can just get it online as a PDF version. Let's set our intentions, and we haven't gone through this slide in every class. And we started off with a lot more students, but only a few left. So hopefully you remember the reason why you're here, and really appreciate.
Hello, can you hear me?
Inshallah, Allah will reward you for your time and efforts in attending this class. So mine and your intention is, I want to learn to follow my religion properly. I want to become a better person, and I want to support my Imam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten his reappearance, inshallah. So we start with the dua from the Holy Quran. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My Lord, Rabbi zidni ilma, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he helps us in increasing our knowledge, because without his help, we can't do anything, including gaining more knowledge. So let's get into akhlaq now. And today's topic is on rights. And they are also called huquq in Arabic, and also in Urdu as well. So what are rights? As you can see on the screen, rights are our obligations or duties towards others. Islam is a complete religion. It has all the answers that you could have in your mind. And one of the questions that could come to your mind is that I have lots of people that I deal with, and not just people, but things as well, and other living things that we deal with. How am I meant to look after them or treat them or deal with them? And that is why we have rights in Islam. And Islam explains how exactly you need to be dealing with them. And some of them are our duties or obligations that we have to do it in a certain way. There is no choice in there. And we will discuss that in the next.
So what page are we on?
So yeah, so we Islam teaches us that we have a certain way of dealing with them. We can't just do whatever we feel like. There is a particular way and particular responsibility towards people, and we have to follow that rather than just doing what comes to our mind. Now, who are we? We will be focusing on people only. I will give you some ideas on who others you can have the rights applied to, but for now we'll be focusing on people. And the rights can be applied to yourself, first of all, and we'll see, like, how the rights can be applied to yourself. The rights can be applied to your family and relatives. For example, your mother and your father, your brothers and sisters, and then the other relatives as well. And the rights can be applied to your friends, your neighbors, your teachers, and any other people that you come across. Can anyone tell me, how can rights be applied to yourself? What's your own right? What should you do for yourself? Yes, while you're thinking that, Tahira asked, wouldn't we have rights towards even complete strangers? We need to be nice. Yes, so this is just a small list of them. We have rights towards everyone. So if say someone comes across you, you're just in the market, for example, buying something, and there's a shopkeeper or there's a person standing next to you. In general, there are lots of rights as well, but particularly because you don't have to deal with those people all the time. Islam has given us more information about the rights with people that we deal with all the time. For example, you are with yourself all the time, and then you have to deal with your family all the time, friends and neighbors and teachers. These are the people you deal with on a daily, weekly basis. Complete strangers would come across your way, and it doesn't happen more often than these other categories. So going back to my question, can anyone tell me how are rights applied to yourself? Right to educate with the world and Islam. Sorry, I didn't understand that from Daniel. Working hard. That's yeah, it's not a right as such. A right is that this is something you have to do, and this is it's not an obligation as such. Because then people who are not able to, then they won't be able to do that. It's not something like required as such. So that's yeah, making sure we eat and drink well. That is a right towards us. So we have to take care of our body and make sure that we eat and drink correctly. Yeah, we have a right to have education. So you not at a young age, but when you grow up, you can have a right to educate yourself. But otherwise, it's usually a right on the parents or people responsible for you to give you education. Keeping yourself fit and healthy, yes, that's a right on yourself. You have to maintain yourself, and we have a right to do our homework. Yeah, you can make that a right towards yourself. A good one. Yeah, so with the rights to yourself, particularly, that means that it's a right on your body and your mind. These two things. So in your body, you've got different parts, like your eyes, your tongue, your hands, your ears, and all these parts of the body have a right on you, that they are used for the purpose they are meant to be used for. And for example, don't look at things that you should not be looking at, or your hands should not be involved in any haram things, or your feet should not walk to your place which is not allowed. And at the same time, as you mentioned about being fit and healthy and eating and drinking well, we have to take care of our body. So our our body is able enough to do all our activities and to pray and to play and to learn. So if we and to keep it clean as well, that's a right on ourselves. You're not allowed in Islam. You're not allowed to just leave your body unclean. You have to make sure that it's always clean. That's a right. So keeping the body clean is an obligation on you. You can't decide yourself that, oh, I will keep it clean or not keep it clean, or what I'll do or not do. You have to do it. This is a right that Allah has placed on ourselves for our own bodies. So let's look at some of the rights of our family. And as I said, like, there's a lot of rights, and I will give some examples in the end. But we will look at a few of them only, which are related to Book 6 of the curriculum. So rights of our mothers, and again, a very important relationship that we have. Everyone needs to be like sort of really kind to their mothers. And what Islam tells us is that one of the rights of our mothers, or some of the rights of our mothers, is to know what she did for us. So we can't just ignore everything and just say, okay, where we are is where we are. Whatever happened, we don't need to worry about what happened when we were young. We need to see everything like in this time, like today only. So the right and obligation on yourself is to make sure that you remember that it was your mother who carried you around and gave you food and drink to grow you up. She protected you with anything when you were a baby, when you were 2 or 3 years old. And you couldn't look after yourself, then your mother was there to look after you, and she made sure that you had food and water, and you were protected from heat and cold. And also sometimes when and you see with if you have like younger brothers and sisters, when one of the younger brothers and sisters is awake, even if your mother wants to sleep at that time, she can't sleep. Because she needs to make sure that the baby is looked after. And obviously there are other people to help, like your other brothers and sisters, or your father, or your grandparents, or someone. But ultimately it's the responsibility of your mother to make sure that the baby is looked after. So remember all those things. That is a right on you. And in return of that right, you should thank her at different times. When you talk to her, just say a thank you, so that you recognize of all the things that she did for you in your prayers, in your daily prayers, in your any act of worship that you do when you're in the mosque, or during fasting, or whatever you're doing, any good act, and pray for her and remember her, and always see how you can help her. So she helped you when you were not able to help yourself. Now, she might be old or she might be young, but if you see her doing something, then even if you can't help, just ask for help. That if she wants help, and and do things before she says it. If she says it, then you have to do it. But if she doesn't say it and you see that she's doing something, then go on and help her. And in no way, it's a right and obligation and our duty to upset your mother. We have to do everything possible to make sure that she is always happy. And in case something happens by mistake, then first of all, ask Allah for forgiveness, and then ask for forgiveness from your mom as well. And I'm sure they will forgive you for whatever the mistake was done. In the same way, there are rights of fathers as well. So to remember, who your father is. Remember that without your father, and some of the mothers and father rights are similar, but one is known for the other more. So without the, if the father wasn't there, then you wouldn't have existed. So you are in this world and you are there right now because of your father. Anything that you see good in yourself, understand, like, this is from your good deeds of your father. And how, remember that how your father, even though your mother was with you all the time, how your father supported your mother in your upbringing, and how you grew up, and giving her all the support and things that she needed. Um, and he was responsible for your education and everything that you needed to be successful in life. So how you are, talking and walking and doing things, everything you've learned from your mother and father. And in return of that, so remember all the things that they did for you, and also thank them, pray for them, and as I said, make sure that you don't upset them in any way. Does anyone else wants to contribute, of any rights you know of your mother and father, what you should do for them and what you should remember of them? Anyone who wants to participate? And as I said, like, if you want to say something via your microphone, then you can let me know, and inshallah I can unmute you and you can talk as well. Okay, please don't unmute the microphone yourself. If you want to say something, then let me know, and then I'll unmute you for you. You can talk. Yes, we should always repay our parents when they are old. That's a good point. Anyone else? So remembering all that they did for us, and if they are old, or if they're young, then we need to do everything possible that we can do for them. Always be respectful to them, Mariam. Yes, very good. That is one of the right on us, that we never disrespect them. Anyone else wants to contribute, especially for mothers and fathers? I'm sure you deal with them like all the time. Being grateful, as we wouldn't be here without them. Yes, that's true. So yeah, together with thanking them, you should thank Allah as well, that He has given you mother and father, and you are in this world with them, and thank Him for this as a blessing from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Also, in some cases, there are people who don't have their parents alive when in whatever age they are. So if you don't have a parent, then still you exist because of your parents, and you should pray for them and ask Allah to have mercy on your parents as well. Okay, so let's move on to some other rights of the family, and the rights of brothers and sisters as well. So every right, if you can see the way it's written, and the way you should think about it, is the first part is for you to remember what they did for you, and then the second part is to do something for them. So the rights of your brothers and sisters is that you should remember that they are your strength. They are part of you, and you both of you are a team, or if there are more of you, then you can say more. But you are all a team, and you all should work together, and you can help your parents and then do good things as well together. But in terms of giving back, a right of your brothers and sisters is, if they have any problems, then you should be helping them out, and always give them good advice. So if you are good at something, then you can tell them about that, give them advice on how they can learn or be good as well. And if you have any things, then you can share the things with them too. So yeah, that's our obligation that we in Islam, and being Muslims, we don't have to just ignore our brothers and sisters. We should be like friends with them, give them everything that we have, including any good advice or any skills or any help that they need. Then we move on to the rights of neighbors, and there is a book from Imam Sajjad called yes, Anas, if they are older, then you need to listen to them because they can give very good advice. Yes, if you've got older brothers and sisters, you can listen to their advice, or you could even give advice, like if you know something that you think it might be useful for them. And if they're younger, then you can give advice. Yeah, good point, Tyler. So there is a book called Risalatul Huquq, or the Treatise of Rights, by Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. And he's written a lot of rights for different people and parts of our body, for example. And he says about our neighbors that we need to protect everything about them. So let's say that your neighbor has a car that is parked in front of their house, and that car, there is something that might just hit that car, or it can be damaged in somehow, or there's something that could damage that car. So treat that neighbor's car as yourself, your own car, and then try and protect his property. He needs to be respected. Helping him. We shouldn't find our neighbors' mistakes or bad things about them. And if you do find anything that is not good, then try and cover their fault, and don't look out for what your neighbor is doing as well. By mistake is fine, but you shouldn't be checking out that when the neighbor is coming and going and what he's doing. You shouldn't be jealous about your neighbor if they are very well off, and if they have any problems, let's say someone passes away, or they need something, or they're in trouble, then always help them out. And there's you're never allowed to abuse them or misbehave with them. If you have something good, then always share with them. So you see, Imam Sajjad, the neighbor is a person you don't know. You are just he's not your relative. You don't know him at all, but still Imam Sajjad is saying that you have to be very careful in how you treat your neighbors. So that's one of the examples of how we have rights on people and what we should be doing with them. This book, the Treatise of Right, or Risalatul Huquq, that I mentioned, it's available on the internet, and it's quite easy reading if some of you want to go in somehow find out. And on the left-hand side, I've just written or just copied from the table of contents. Imam Sajjad talks about the rights of Allah on you, the right of your tongue, your sight, hand, leg, stomach, the right of prayers, Hajj, and fasting. So even our namaz and prayers have a right on us. We can't just stand up and start praying without any proper structure, proper way, proper thinking. There's a certain obligation or duty for us to follow how we pray and how we do charity, and there are other things as well. So the rights of subjects to authority, someone like your teacher who's got more knowledge has got more rights as well. So he's mentioned a lot of rights in there, and if you sometimes get a chance, you could go in to the internet, search for Treatise of Rights and Risalatul Huquq, and just see what Imam Sajjad tells us about different rights. Okay, so yeah, we'll have the Kahoot in the end. And just as a reminder of what we worked out in today's session, Islam is a complete religion and defined our way of life. So there shouldn't be any question that you have in your mind which is not answered by Islam. If something exists and you can't find an answer, then speak to your parents first of all, then speak to your teachers, speak to your local Malana or scholar that you have, and you will find an answer. If you can't find an answer, then Islam is not a good religion, basically. So to prove that Islam has got all the answers and it is the complete religion, it has all the answers. It's just a matter of us finding those answers. Rights tells us how to deal with people. So you don't follow your mind and just deal with people as you like. You need to see what Islam wants us to do and then deal with them in that particular way. We need to be aware of all our rights and responsibilities. So once a person becomes baligh, then the rights apply to them. So all of you who are baligh, you have to learn about the rights of people and then apply them as well. If you don't, then that is where you will be doing some sins, and then you have to seek forgiveness. So as part of learning, in book 1 to 5, there are rights mentioned. I've explained about the Risalatul Huquq, and you should do your own reading, find out what other rights are there for people, and then apply them as well. If the rights are not applied for any reason, people don't know, or they have made a mistake, or they have deliberately not done something, then ask for Allah's forgiveness, and inshallah, He will forgive you. So, any questions about rights before we move on? As I said, you can write the question, or if you want to talk, you can say the question as well. Okay. Okay, so yeah, if you have any question, then you can just write the thing. Zayan says, what page are we on? Which page do you mean? Like, yeah, if you look at the book 6, then you will see. Actually, this might be a good time. I can show you the book as well. So this is book 6. If or you haven't looked at it or you haven't got it, the book 6 of Majlis al-Mashia, and within book 6, you could see the different topics. So there are aqaid topics in there. There is fiqh topics, and then there is history topics, and then akhlaq topics as well. So if we go into akhlaq, for example, then rights of relatives and neighbors are the ones that we were just discussing today. So you can look for these in the book in more detail. Okay, let's move on to history now. So today we'll be talking about Prophet's adult life. So we discussed in the past, the time before the Prophet, when Prophet was born, what was the situation when Prophet was young, how his uncle and his family looked after him. And now we're talking about when Prophet grew older, what happened and some important in incidents or events in Prophet's life. So one of the important event is the Prophet's marriage to Sayyida Khadija, Salamullah alayha. And as I said in one of the previous history classes, being Muslims mean that you need to be aware of about your religion, about your Prophet, about the Holy Book, about all the actions and beliefs and practices. Because if someone asks you, like, being a Muslim, what do you know about your Prophet, and you say, very little, then that doesn't give a good image of Islam. So you need to have enough information about different life events of Prophet, for example, and that's what you would be studying in the book from 1 to 6, and then in 7 as well. So let's just go through some of the things that happened at that time, and some of you might already know it, but as a reminder, and those of you for them they're new, then some new information for them. So Prophet Sayyidah Khadija was a businesswoman in Mecca. She used to run trade caravans, and in that time, what used to happen was every city had something that they can buy and sell. Well, they can sell more. So Bibi Khadija, the businesswoman, for example, there were good dates in Mecca. So she would load up the camels with dates, and then the camels used to go in different cities of the world and sell those dates. And if they have something in that city that they can buy, then they buy, or they bring the money back, and then they made a profit out of that. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam worked for Sayyidah Khadija as a tradesperson, and Sayyidah Khadija found the Prophet very honest, but at the same time very clever as well. So you can see that you don't have to be a naive person. You can be clever and honest together, and that made Sayyidah Khadija a lot of profit, and she was really impressed with the Prophet. Sayyidah Khadija herself was a very pious and wealthy lady. So pious is like very honest, and she didn't used to do any bad deeds. Always told the truth. Islam wasn't there, so they weren't like Muslims at that time. But she was a good woman and didn't took part in any of the Arab activities. Yes, so I'll explain that. I've got a question from Fahim. So we, that is it's a fact, and again from our book as well. The Prophet was around 25 years of age, and Sayyidah Khadija was nearly 40, so she was like quite younger than the Prophet. And this is also, an idea for you, everyone, that usually when we marry, we find like for the boys, they try to find girls that are younger than them. But Prophet Muhammad was a lot younger than Sayyidah Khadija. So there is in Islam, or as in Muslims, there is no problem with marrying someone which is older than you. And so your wife can be older than you as well. It doesn't have to be always younger. And the Prophet is an example for that. Sayyidah Khadija, or Bibi Khadija as we call them sometimes, she looked after the Prophet with lots of love and care. And when the Prophet announced that he is a Prophet and he'll be preaching Islam, she was the first woman to accept Islam. The Prophet had two boys, from Bibi Khadija, called Qasim and Abdullah, and sometimes the Prophet is called Abu Qasim or Abu Abdullah as well. But unfortunately, they didn't live longer. And at that time, the people of the city in Mecca, they started calling the Prophet that you don't have any children. So Allah revealed Surah Kawthar, which says that whoever, in a summary format, that Allah has given Prophet Kawthar, and whoever says bad things about the Prophet will not basically have any children. And it was more Abu Lahab, one of the bad people at that time, who used to say this. So Surah Kawthar was revealed, and then Later on, Sayyida Khadija gave birth to Sayyida Fatima Zahra, Salamullah alayha, and hence she was the mother. And both these ladies are of very immense importance in Islam. So I ask a question that if Bibi Khadija followed the Prophet or that she followed Prophet Isa at that time. So what happened was that after the last Prophet before Prophet Muhammad, um, so Prophet Isa alayhi salam, and there was a big gap. It wasn't like straight after Prophet Isa, Prophet Muhammad came along. So they were Christians and they were following the book or Bible in there. But people who were born long after that time, they didn't had they weren't Christians as such. Christians were only people who were at the time of Prophet Isa. And also, they were descendants, or the children of people who were Christians used to be Christians. But there were some other people, especially the lineage of the prophet. They were all good people, and they didn't follow Islam as such. They did believe that Prophet Isa was the last messenger, but they were all waiting for the next prophet, which was going to be the last prophet, Muhammad. And until then, they didn't follow any bad practices. So they weren't Muslims as such. They weren't Christians, but they were not bad people, and they were waiting for the next prophet whom they can start following them. The next topic is about the first revelation and the ascension of Miraj of the Holy Prophet. So I'm sure, like most of you would be aware, that the first verses of the Holy Quran were revealed in the cave of Hira. And this is a cave that those of you maybe have gone to Umrah in Makkah. You can see it's a very high cave. You can spend like hours climbing up the mountain. But a picture shows on the screen. This is what that cave looks like. Prophet used to go in there and pray every day. And one day, Angel Jibreel came and he revealed the first verse of the Holy Quran, and then the series of the ayats revelation started from that point onwards, and it took about 23 years until the whole Quran was revealed. Miraj is an important incident, and it's also called ascension in English. And this is the event or the journey when the Prophet, once he was in his house in Mecca in the night time, and he was sleeping, and Angel Jibreel came and he said, Allah wants you to visit the heavens. And this is where Angel Jibreel took him to Masjid al-Aqsa, which is in Baitul Muqaddas, or Palestine, which is right now. And then from Masjid al-Aqsa, he went right up into the heavens. And there's a whole journey that he did. So he met a lot of prophets over there. He was shown like previous history on different religions, on how Christians existed, or how in the Prophet Musa's time. He met a lot of, he saw the angels. He met previous prophets as well. So he met Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Nuh, and all those in heaven. And the purpose of Miraj was to give some prophet some physical information. So the prophet was told by Angel Jibreel and from the Quran that this is what happened in the past. But Miraj meant that the prophet went in and actually saw all that. He saw the heaven and the hell, and he went all the way up to a place called Sidratul Muntaha, which is the last place that you can go on the seventh heaven. So he saw all that, because he was the prophet, and it was a physical journey in that. And one thing that which we were told, which we are told, that the 5 daily prayers became wajib after the event of Miraj. So when Prophet came back from Miraj, one of the first instructions that he gave to Muslims, that from this point onwards, we all have to pray the 5 daily prayers. Any questions about Miraj? Does anyone know when the night of Miraj is in the Islamic calendar? I should have written that as a question in Kahoot, but anyone can tell me which month it is, or if you can tell me the month and the date as well, that would be better. When do we celebrate the night of Miraj? It's very highly recommended to fast on the day of Miraj. And we've, yeah, it's a few months away. Okay, I've got an answer from Hassan and Daniel. Anyone else? Yes, so it's the night of the 27th of Rajab. The next topic on history at the time of Prophet's adulthood is the revelation of the Holy Quran. And we are all aware that the Holy Quran has got 114 surahs, 6236 ayahs, which are the verses, and it's divided into 30 parts. So Quran was revealed in 23 years. In Prophet's lifetime, he spent his first 13 years in Mecca, and then the last 10 in Medina during the revelation of the Holy Quran. So some surahs are revealed in Mecca, and some of them were revealed in Medina. And the first ayah was revealed when he was 40 years old, and that's where he started his journey and his preaching as a prophet. Now, there are some questions about the Holy Quran which can come into your mind. Is that at that time, Angel Jibreel was bringing in verses to the Holy Prophet, and he was the only person who could see and hear Angel Jibreel. So no one else knows, when he comes and when he, says the verses. So Prophet used to receive the revelation from Angel Jibreel, and then he used to read it out or say it. And he asked his companions, those are the people who were around him, and obviously Imam Ali was around him all the time, to memorize those verses. So lots of people memorized all the verses of the Holy Quran, but it wasn't available in a book format. So there wasn't a book of Quran as such, but all the ayahs were there, and people have memorized them. Also, in terms of surahs, so we have 114 surahs, and you may or may not know this, but the surahs were compiled by the Prophet. So Angel Jibreel only came with verses. He didn't came in and say, today I'm going to reveal Surah Jummah, for example, and then he read all the ayahs of Surah Jummah. Angel Jibreel came in with all the ayats of, for example, Surah Jummah, and then Prophet combined them into one surah, and then named it as Surah Jummah. And we have short surahs and some of the long surahs like Surah Nisa and Surah Baqarah, for example. These surahs were defined by the Prophet rather than revealed from Allah directly. And lastly, that the order of revelation is different from the order of publishing. So the first ayah that was revealed was the Iqra, Bismi Rabbika Allazi, which is part of Surah Alaq in the Quran. I think this is like the 97th or something surah in there towards the end of the Quran. So if that was the first ayah, why is the first ayah Surah Fatiha in the book of Quran that we see? So from that, we find out that the order of revelation was different from how the book was published. But the main thing to remember is that the Quran has 114 surahs, 60 to 36 ayahs. They can be differently published in a book, but as long as the surahs and the ayahs are the same, then we are that is the Holy Quran, which is have not been changed. So, any questions relating to the Holy Quran? Okay. So, just before we end this part, I just wanted to share the life, this family tree of the Prophet. And you can see that we discussed the lineage of the Prophet in terms of his great grandfather. But if we start from Prophet grandfather Abdul Muttalib, then you can see all the way up to the Prophet's father, Hazrat Abdullah, the Prophet himself. Then he had a daughter called Fatima, and from Bibi Fatima there were two sons, Hassan and Hussein, and from the children of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Imam Ali Zainul Abidin or Imam Sajjad came, and then all our Imams came from the lineage of Imam Zainul Abidin. So, and it shows other family members as well. So, Hazrat Abu Talib, the uncle of the Prophet, um, had sons, Imam Ali, Imam Jafar, Imam Ali, Hazrat Jafar and Hazrat Aqil. And from Hazrat Jafar, there were two sons, and then Hazrat Abu Talib's son, Hazrat Aqil, had other sons as well. So, for example, Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil was the son of Hazrat Aqil, who was the son of Hazrat Abu Talib. So Taira, didn't Imam Muslim's daughter marry Imam Zainul Abidin? So Imam Hassan had, I'm not directly aware of that, about Imam Hassan's wife being Imam Zainul Abidin's daughter. Yeah, so yeah, so I don't have the answer for that. I'll see if I can find that. But these are the ones coming on your screen are the people that are in history, and they have events associated with them too. So let's just move on to the final points of this, and then we can have the Kahoot. So from today's history session, things to remember is Sayyidah Khadija was Prophet's most beloved wife. Prophet had a few wives after Sayyidah Khadija, but Sayyidah Khadija was the most beloved one, and she gave everything to protect the Prophet and the religion. Quran was revealed over 23 years from the first surah, first verse, Iqra, all the way up to the end. And Prophet went to the journey of Miraj to gain more knowledge. And Quran has a fixed number of verses, the 6236 we mentioned, and the Prophet placed them into surahs according to their meanings and according to the event that happened. Okay, so let's look at the Kahoot. So when you are ready, enter this pin in your phones. I'm sure you're all aware now how to run this. So we have 9 people today. As soon as we have 9, then we will start. If anyone is having any difficulty, then let me know, and I will wait for them and try and help. So we're waiting for Hasnan and Mujtabadi. Yeah, Mujtaba is on. Hasnan. Oh, who's Farzan Zedi? Oh, that's interesting. We've got more people than we have attendees. Okay. All right, let's begin the Kahoot. What does rights mean? Is it mercy towards others? Is it worrying about others? Is it obligation towards others or thinking about others? Good answer, yeah. So all our obligations or duties or responsibilities towards others, it's called rights. Tahira is on the top with Mariam. Well done, Tahira and Mariam. Do we have rights on ourselves? Yes, we do. Okay, Hassan moves on to the second place, and Mariam is third. Well done. What are the rights of parents? To remember what they did for us, to thank them and pray for them, to not upset them, or all of these? Yes, so all of these are rights of parents. Remember what they did for us, thanking them, and definitely not upsetting them. Okay, Hassan moves on to the top, and oh, Tahira has gone away. So hope to see Tahira back. There is no need to help your brother or sister. Okay, good. Everyone got that right. There is definitely a need to help your brother or sister. Okay, question number 5. What is the right of our neighbor? The right is to protect them and forgive their faults, spy on them, don't care about them, or ignore them. Good, everyone got that right. Yeah, we need to protect them. And it doesn't matter if you live in a Western country and you have a non-Muslim neighbor or even kafir neighbor or any sort of neighbor, you still have to protect them and forgive their faults. So question number 6, Surah Qasr was revealed because Prophet had lots of children. Is that true or false? Yeah, it was revealed because people said like Prophet had no children. So it's false. Okay, Mariam moves on the podium for the first place. Question number 7, Imam Sajjad's book on rights is called Nahjul Balagha, Risalatul Hukuk, Saifa Sajjadiya, or Mafatihul Jinan. Yes, it was called Risalatul Hukuk, or the Treatise of Rights. Nahjul Balagha is Imam Ali's book. Saifa Sajjadiya is also another book by Imam Sajjad. And Mafatihul Jinan is not from any Imam. Hassan moves on the top again. Question number 8, what was Miraj? Was it a dream of the Prophet? Was it something that didn't happen? A journey to Masjid al-Aqsa, or a physical journey to Masjid al-Aqsa and the heavens? Good. It was a physical journey to Masjid al-Aqsa and heavens. Well done, everyone. Okay, Maria moves on the top. Question number 9. order of revelation is different from order of publishing. That's true, yeah. So the order of revelation is not like the order of publishing, they're different. Okay, Hassan moves on the top again, and Fahim and Daniel and Hassan, I believe. Last question. Sayyida Fatima had 4 sons. Oh, I don't know who said true to that. So Sayyida Fatima had 2 sons, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, very famous. So it's false. She had 2 sons. Okay, let's see the results for today. We have Hassan, hopefully, as 3rd place. Fahim on the 2nd place with all answers. And today we have Mariam on the 1st place, and we have runners up as Hassan and Tanya. Well done, everyone. Okay, so coming back to our PowerPoint, we have, we'll end up with the dua, inshallah. First of all, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You can recite with me as well. Allahumma kulli waliyaka al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan, salawatuka alayhi wa ala abahi, fi hadhihi as-sa'ati wa fi kulli sa'a, waliyan wa hafizan wa qa'idan wa nasiran wa dalilan wa 'ayna. حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. About the exam, so if you can note this, I'm sure you would have got a WhatsApp message or an email message. Those of you who have registered, the exam is on the 5th of July on a Sunday, and the registration link is on Majlis Ulama website, majlis.org.uk/MUS online assessment 2020. Sorry, let me just go back. There is a deadline of attending too. So let me show you the page. So this is the website. You can go onto web and fill out the form. And I think the last day to register is next week. So register as soon as possible. You will receive an online link. You can do this exam from home as well. So yeah, that's all for today. Inshallah, next Saturday we'll have the 11th session. And until then, we pray to Allah to keep us and everyone else safe, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.